You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Tuesday. My name is Brock.
I'm Dalby.
Very excited. Game 2 between the Leafs and the Sens is going down tonight.
Do you have any trepidation coming off of a big, it was a monster win in Game 1.
Mm-hmm.
Are you one of those fans that gets nervous of, maybe we used up all our goals?
I mean, there is a huge rise and fall kind of graph chart with the Leafs having big wins in the playoffs in the follow-up game. I'm still predicting a Leafs win, but I don't think it's going to be as guns blazing as it was the other night. I'm expecting Ottawa to have some extra gas in the tank tonight.
I will say this. I have seen online more Ottawa Senators fans in the last 2 weeks than maybe in the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. So congratulations to them for at the very least deciding to be vocal about their fandom.
Yeah, I thought there was only 7 of you. Turns out there's at least 20 of you.
It's at least double digits, which is cool to see. I mean, listen, I personally, as someone who's not a rivalry fan of any Canadian team, I'm just happy to see Canadian franchises do well. Seeing all the fans in Winnipeg has been very cool. It would be nice to know that Ottawa has a real fan base. It's always cool seeing Leaf fans that aren't just given tickets as lawyers.
The one thing that confuses me with Senators fans is, they always crap on the Leafs. They crap on the Habs or whatever. And I'm like, your team's only been around since what? It's 91, 92?
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Who did you cheer for before?
Well, I mean, that's the thing,
That's
right?
the real question.
Yeah, is did you switch from another team? Are you new to the league? I have a friend who's in his mid-30s that is a Seattle Kraken fan. So how the hell do you become a Seattle Kraken fan, Matt? He goes, I didn't have a team before. I decided to start watching hockey the year the Kraken joined. I was like, okay, that's fair.
That's the only acceptable answer for that. I hate people that are like, I'm leaving my team and I'm joining this expansion team. You're a coward. Would you bail on your kids?
You're the LeBron James of fans. I'm taking my talents to Ottawa.
Yeah, you're no better than a dad in the 50s who has 2 families. If you left to go to an expansion team, you're not welcome to come back.
You're a dad that has 2 families, and for some reason you chose the one that's worse
You're
off.
a deadbeat.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
What'd you think about WrestleMania? I see people saying that it was one of the worst WrestleManias of all time.
People are saying it was one of the worst WrestleManias of all time because the last match of the second night was one of the worst main events of all time.
Is that the John Cena one?
John Cena turned into a bad guy for the first time ever in Toronto a few months ago, and this was his last WrestleMania, first time ever as the bad guy, and it sucked. It was so bad.
The only thing that I've really seen from WrestleMania that I love is the video of Stone Cold Steve Austin crashing the ATV into that lady.
Dude, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, for as long as we've been watching, right? You go all the way back to the Attitude Era. That man was coming out on quads, ripping donuts around the ring. It was a big celebration. When he did it at WrestleMania this year, 63,000 people in attendance in Las Vegas all lost their mind at the same time. He does the first lap, and then he goes for the second lap. He's going way too fast and slams right into the security barricade.
If you haven't seen the video of that, text Stone Cold to 762-555 or check the podcast links. We'll put it in there. Do you think the lady actually got injured? Because I've watched this video 100 times, and it looks like she sells it pretty good. But they got there's the barricade in the front, and I was like, there's no way you're injured.
I watched that video of Stone Cold crashing into the barricade like it was the JFK tapes. I'm watching for any sign of impact. He hits the barricade and it moves, but it moves an inch, maybe 2.
Yeah.
And then there's this period of time where she's the impact happens and you can see her go, oh, and then she slowly falls back into her seat.
Yeah.
And you're just I think I see what happened there. I think she got spooked because an ATV crashed into where she was
She
sitting.
was in shock, and then it hit her.
I think what hit her was dollar signs. I think she realized I'm front row at WrestleMania.
Are you allowed to sue? Is it one of those things where, when you buy a ticket, that you sign away your rights for anything that happens to you there?
I don't think so. I mean, think about it. It's the same kind of ticket as if you were going to a concert, right? So if you were at a concert and say Tommy Lee is doing one of his weird spinning drum things and a cymbal falls off and smacks you in the face, you can still sue for that.
But then again, if you go to a hockey game, you get hit by a puck, you can't sue, right? So there might be certain legalities because for different events, but
I think the difference is in expectations. If you're at a hockey game, there's a high expectation that a puck could come into the crowd. If you're at a wrestling show, there's not a high expectation you're going to get into a hit and run.
if you're at a play fighting show, there should be an expectation that there's not going to be any violence upon you.
There should be an expectation that this is the one place you're safe from traffic.
I mean, I get why the lady sold it, like you said, dollar signs in the mind, and I mean, everyone else is pretending to get hurt. She might as well too.
That's right. I mean, honestly, she sold better than some of the wrestlers who worked that night. So I have to give her credit to that. She looked more human than John Cena.
I would instantly be like, my neck and my back.
Oh, my God.
Oh, God.
But the slow fall into the chair, no, lady, you want the big money? You got to hit the floor. Go all the way down.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Friend of the show, Scott, texted in and said the biggest thing that happened in wrestling was the fact that John Cena finally got a hair transplant.
John, what's the secret? Because I could use a little bit of that.
You have to take the ones from the side and plant them in on the top.
Exactly. Science.
You take the lawn over here and you put it on the dry spot. It just takes a while for it to come in. Yes.
They look good.
It's coming in, man. It's coming. Hopefully, a couple months it looks better. Hopefully, in a couple months it looks better than that.
I thought it looked great last night.
I mean, he's got so much money. It's about damn time he fixes up that bald spot.
I'm glad that he has people in his life who will lie to him like that. It doesn't look good.
No?
It's not there yet. We were watching, Mallory and I watching WrestleMania when he came out on Sunday. What they've done, because he had the patch at the back of the top of the head, very similar to my first bald spot. What they've started to do since he's apparently gotten the transplant is they've cut his part down the bald spot. So now it looks a little bit less obvious as a bald spot. It just looks like a weird part, but it makes him look like he could be a North Korean dictator, which is not a good look for anybody.
The Kim Jong-un.
He's Kim Jong-Cena at this point.
I feel like getting a hair transplant, you know what? If you can afford to do it,
Sure.
by all means do it. I get it, man. Like, I've noticed, my hairline's starting to go, a little bit, and I've looked at trips to Turkey, whatever, all this stuff. This is $20,000, $30,000. It's not a cheap thing to do. But I also feel like, dude, if you showed up, 2 weeks from you, I'm taking 2 weeks off.
Right.
And you come back and you got some lettuce on top, we're not going to talk about that?
Well, that's just it. I mean, I feel like hair transplants are a fine thing. It's just like any other cosmetic medical procedure. But I think the window is small in terms of when you can get it done and it not be very obvious. I mean, like you said, I have a shaved head because I have a lot of thin patches.
It's the male version of getting breast implants is what it is.
Right. We all know the difference when you walk in before and after.
It's hair tits is what it is. That's what it is. It's exactly what it is.
And that's just it, is good for John Cena for not only doing something that apparently makes him feel better. He said he was very self-conscious, especially with the fans all chirping him for it, but also for having the confidence to go and talk about it, because that would be the hard part for me, right? If I wasn't shaving my head, if I was just trying to cover up the fact that I've got 2 pretty significant bald spots, and I went and I got the process done and I came in here, you, even as one of my best friends, are going to be like, you got hair transplants, right? And I don't want to have that conversation. If I'm going to spend all the money on getting hair transplants, I don't want people to notice. It's too late for me.
Yeah, I don't have a good enough group of friends to not bat an eye at it. You know what I mean?
That's just it. There's nobody that I know well in my life that if I got hair transplants is not going to be like, bud, come on.
Yeah. I think there's a certain point where it's you can't do it anymore.
No, once you have been noticeably marked as a bald or balding man, you can't do it. The best hope that you have is once you notice that you've started to go bald, shave it all off and say you lost a bet or something like that, so that when it does grow back post-transplant, the bald spot is gone, and then you just hope no one else noticed it.
I just don't believe any guy that says they're going on a vacation to Turkey anymore.
Why would you? I'm sorry. I'm maybe ignorant. I don't know enough about Turkey, but I've never heard of it as a cultural tourist spot before the hair transplant.
It's like when you hear a guy be like, oh, I'm going on a vacation to Thailand for the culture.
Yeah, for the culture.
Sure, bud.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
It is Police Week on the station, so if you hear more music from the police, that is why. But of course, like we've been doing, that also means it is time to censor some police songs here.
Okay.
And I think the easiest one to do right off the bat is Every Breath You Take.
Leaving in the word break is really concerning.
It makes the song just a smidge more creepy.
Yeah, it's just sort of a like, what are you up to, sir?
Message in a Bottle also works pretty well.
I hope that someone smile. I hope that someone smile. I hope that someone smile. Message in a bottle.
Message in a Bottle could be a euphemism. Who knows?
Is the neck too narrow? We'll find out.
Another police song that I think is kind of underrated is Walking on the Moon. I don't know if you know that song.
Not super familiar with it.
But it does work to censor out quite well. It gets better. That's why all those rich people want to go to space.
I get it now. It sounds kind of fun.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Say goodbye to the DeLorean because it is disappearing from UK roads.
I mean, I feel like the DeLorean is considered one of the worst cars of all time, so I'm surprised they're even still on the road.
Apparently, there are just 303 registered DeLoreans still in the United Kingdom, which, like, if you don't know, the DeLorean was originally created in Northern Ireland, so they've always been kind of more prolific over there. But now people are either falling apart or they're getting shelved or put away for like collections and stuff like that because fewer and fewer people want to be seen driving a DeLorean on the streets.
I think the DeLorean's like a bad tattoo. Like, you probably thought it was cool when you were 16, and then the older you get, you look back and you're like, ugh.
That's just it, man. I mean, blame Back to the Future. Those movies made the DeLorean seem like the coolest car on the road. Like, honestly, when you watch that movie as a kid or as a teenager, the gull wing doors open up for the first time as it hit 88 miles an hour and started flying through time. Now, obviously, the average DeLorean doesn't time travel, but it still seemed like a really cool thing until people started driving them because of the popularity of the movie and went, oh. And now we can look at them and we can go, these things rust out faster. The gull wing doors are insanely impractical, and they just fall apart way too easily.
I think the DeLorean is a great example of what growing up is like. You know, like you said, as a kid, you looked at the DeLorean, you're like, oh, I'd love to have one of those. It's like when you're a kid and you're like, oh, man, when I grow up, I'm going to eat whatever I want, blah, blah, blah. And then you grow up and you eat whatever you want, and you're like, oh, I'm fat now. Like,
dude, I keep trying to explain to my kids because we'll talk about, like, Mallory and I will be talking about, oh, what should we make for supper? And one of the kids inevitably will always chime in, McDonald's! And I'm like, you're going to get to a point in your life where the suggestion of McDonald's for dinner is going to be depressing.
Yeah.
All right? You're going to get to a point where a Big Mac is no longer exciting, and that's sad.
I think just even as a kid, the idea of growing up seems so cool until you get there and you're like, all of this sucks.
There were so many things that I was looking forward to. I give it to my parents. I feel like they made being an adult look a lot cooler than it ended up being. Just like Doc Brown and that damn DeLorean.
Someone should start making a shirt, life is like a DeLorean, it sucks.
No witty punchline, just it sucks.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
When you're a kid, all you want to do is be an adult. But when you're an adult, eventually you want to go back to being a kid.
Kids don't know how damn good they've got it. That's the thing.
That's right.
I don't know if I'd want to be a kid now. It seems way too confusing, you know? There's too much stuff being put out there, and it's just like, I'd feel like you're not even a kid anymore.
It's true. When you stop to think, like, I wish I was a kid again, you wish you were a kid again from when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Kids today are stressed.
Exactly. You want to go back to when you were a kid.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a kid now.
Man, we all just sound old, dude.
Maybe you sound old.
We've also got a friend of the show, Steve, on the phone. Steve, what's something you thought was cool when you were a kid, but when you got older, you realized not so much?
Rollerblades.
Yeah, Yeah.
Honestly, and I think it was mostly because of the Mighty Ducks movie, that scene in the mall.
Honestly, the Mighty Ducks was Mighty Ducks 2. Made rollerblades seem like the absolute coolest method of transportation. And holy were they wrong.
Oh, God, yeah. You look back at it now, or even if you even see a set of rollerblades now, you're like, dude, what are you thinking?
Also, as someone who used to skateboard, rollerblades have never been cool. Let's just all agree on that, all right?
No, man.
Right up there with scooters.
Yes, thank you.
I remember being in a Costco parking lot when I was 12 years old learning how to rollerblade, and I felt like I was really cool.
Same here, but Canadian Tire.
Cool people don't say stuff like that, guys. I'm just saying, man.
You know, it's funny how, like, anything can seem cool, and maybe it even is cool at first, but as soon as it becomes a job, it becomes less cool. We had Sean text in, says, I've been playing with dump trucks, bulldozers, and excavators since I was 12. Now I'm 53, and I'm sick of it.
Which is kind of fitting. Marty, what were you saying before we went on air? What's something you thought was cool as a kid, but isn't now that you're older?
I used to think that my dad every morning get up when we're going to school is pretty cool because he's going to work to make money, but now that I'm older, kind of pretty that we got to do it.
Because as you're a kid, you're looking at your dad, depending on what he does for a living, he's like getting his gear on and getting ready to go out the door. You're like, that man's putting in the work to provide for this family. Now you're like, this sucks.
Yeah, now that you got to get up every morning and say, when can I win the Lotto Max? What's the winning numbers?
I remember, like, as a kid, my dad taking me to work with him, and I was like, this is the coolest thing of all time.
Yeah.
Not realizing how much dread that man had every single day.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Apparently, this is a new color. They call it Olo, and scientists say this shade is the closest they've ever come to a true new color that nobody has ever seen before. And now, I can see your face looking at this. Have you ever seen this color before?
My brother, that's green.
That's
That's just green.
It's like teal. If you've ever looked at the Northern Lights.
Yeah, that's it. The audacity to try and gaslight us into believing they have discovered something new.
It's literally a brighter teal. Dude, if you go to Newfoundland, there's a million houses on George Street painted this color.
This exact brand of paint from paint stores all across this country. That's just green. With more steps.
I don't know why this is such a big deal. I kept seeing this on the internet, and like the University of Berkeley is all proud of making this advancement in technology to create a new color. Brother, you can go on Paint and find it.
You give me 5 minutes in Photoshop right now, I get that color like that. Not a problem.
I just feel like scientists are doing just about everything except finding a cure for cancer nowadays.
What if we found a new color? All right, sure, let's put millions of dollars into it.
Maybe we're wrong.
I mean, sure, but probably not.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
It's time for Brock and Dalby's Draft.
All right, we're doing a cookie draft because apparently it's National Girl Guide Day. People are upset with me because I said Girl Guide cookies are trash. You get the first pick. Are you taking Girl Guide cookies?
I love Girl Guide cookies. I just want to be very clear about that. A Girl Guide cookie is an A-tier cookie, but we're doing brands, and there are some Girl Guide cookies that are not as good as others. Whereas there is one brand that stands above the rest that owns the whole cookie aisle and only makes bangers. Number one pick has to be Oreos. It has to be Oreos. There's not an option.
They've got 1,000,001 flavors.
It would be irresponsible for me to have chosen anything else with this pick.
They changed the game when they came out with the double stuff, too.
Absolutely. I mean, even the best Tim Hortons ice cap is Oreo. Everything Oreo is good.
I am going to go with my number one pick. I'm going to go Subway cookies.
Subway cookies are a banger cookie.
Specifically, the white macadamia, that is the number one pick right there. Oh, they're so soft. They're so chewy. They're just,
I will go to Subway for lunch or for dinner because of the cookie.
Yeah.
Like, I've never once gone to Subway because I was like, I would like bread and meat and cheese. I've always gone, God, I would love a Subway cookie right now. I guess I should be responsible and get a sub first.
Subway has gone downhill, but those cookies still remain top tier.
Round two, I am taking a cookie that is so good and causes such cravings. It's the only cookie to lead the league in disappointment of finding out that they're gone. It's the Royal Dansk cookies, the sugar cookies that come in the blue tin.
Oh, grandma cookies.
Everyone's grandma turned into a sewing kit afterwards.
Yeah.
You'll find that tin in grandma's house and you'll rip it open. It's 50-50. Either you just found the jackpot of deliciousness or you just found that little red pin cushion that every grandma also owned that kept inside there.
Yeah.
Those cookies are so good. They come in the little paper wrapping and you go, I'm just going to have one. And then the whole layer is gone, and you're just like, what have I done?
Oh, so good. And it's the biggest pump fake of all time. You're either going to have cookies or you're just going to be disappointed.
That's just it. There's no other cookie out there that can make you feel disappointed just by not being there.
When you see grandma pull it out, you're either getting a snack or a new scarf. Coming in at number 2, I think Dad's Cookies has to be on this list.
Oh, I thought I could steal Dad's at number 3.
Specifically the oatmeal raisin. Oh, my God. Dad's Cookies are fantastic.
I remember when I was a kid. And because it is a lot of like oatmeal, the raisin, all that stuff. And you go, I don't know if Dad's cookie is great. Now that I'm older and I can appreciate the fine, dry, crumbly flavor of a Dad's cookie, they're always in the cupboard.
Do you think
somewhere.
you enjoy Dad's Cookies more because your dad wasn't around? Is that why?
Dad's Cookies the only dad I ever had, brother.
Yeah. It's Dad's Cookies and Dad's root beer. What's your final pick?
My third pick, I thought I could go Dad's Cookies, but those are off the board. I was thinking Subway cookies off the board. So I'm left to do the cookie that brought us to the dance. And that's the Girl Guide cookie.
Nah.
They're so good. The chocolate and vanilla specifically, the ones that come in the 2-row pack, are some of the best cookies on the market. And you get to feel good for buying them because you're helping kids to do activities and to stay off the streets and do organized things. It's a good cookie for your mouth and your soul.
Well, with my final pick, I think this is the best one of all time, at least specifically for me. I'm going to go with, I like to call them magic cookies.
Okay.
Edibles.
Well, we went in 2 different directions at the end here.
They could either be homemade or, you can get them at the store now.
I'll tell you right now, the homemade edible cookie is the most dangerous cookie in existence.
You can only have one. You can only maybe have half of one, actually.
You should probably start with a quarter and see where the night goes.
You have a quarter of one, and then you get to eat a full sleeve of Oreos after. It's a win-win situation.
It's a gateway cookie.
It's a pregame cookie is what it is.
All right. What's your top 3?
I got Subway cookies in at number 1. I got Dad's Cookies in at number 2. And I got edible cookies in at number 3.
I took Oreos with the first overall pick. The Royal Dance sugar cookies, I need to specify in the blue sewing tin. And then Girl Guide cookies at number 3.
The Brock and Dobby Podcast.
I did it all for the cookie. The cookie. The cookie. And me can take a cookie and stick it in my yum. Stick it in my yum. Stick it in my yum. It takes too long. Why didn't you?
We did a draft of the best cookies of all time. Have you never heard this before?
I've never heard this before. What is this?
I downloaded this off of LimeWire when I was a kid. I don't even know who sings it.
Brother, it sounds like it's off of LimeWire.
But we did a draft of the greatest cookies of all time. And, it was neck and neck. But the final vote just came in before we came on air. I got to give it to you. Victory! You're catching a W this morning.
Here's the thing to keep in mind is no one loses when it comes to cookies, all right? Cookies are fantastic, but it was the secret sauce. And I have to say thank you to the person who texted in and reminded me about the Royal Dance sewing tin cookies, because that is what got me all of my votes.
A lot of people mad at us that we left Fudgios off the draft board.
Fudgios was on my list. It was on my radar. I didn't have it in my top 3 though. Fudgios are good, but you have to be in a certain
bootleg Oreos.
You have to be in a certain mindset for a Fudgio.
Dare cookies on there as well. Some people even saying those Little Debbie ones.
Yeah, Little Debbie almost feels more cakey to me though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At some point, is this a cookie or are we just eating small cakes?
That's like people were saying Fig Newtons, which I Googled it. They do label Fig Newton as a cookie, but it just reminds me more of like a Nutri-Grain bar.
Listen, the guy who created the GIF says it's pronounced GIF. Sometimes you just can't trust the people who made the thing.
Mrs. Fields was one we also forgot about.
Yeah, also I want to give a shout out to the PC Decadent cookie, which is everything that a Chips Ahoy cookie pretends it's going to be.
Can we talk about Chips Ahoy? Because there's a lot of people texting and saying, how did Chips Ahoy not? Chips Ahoy is the most basic shelf cookie of all time.
Chips Ahoy is all marketing. It's 100%. We all grew up watching cartoons on Saturday mornings, getting bombarded with colorful Chips Ahoy cookie commercials. and it convinced us that this wasn't just dry and bland.
Chips Ahoy cookies are only good if you drop them to the bottom of your milk.
Yeah, and walk away.
Yeah.
Go do some other things. Go play Super Mario for an hour and then come back, and I guess you can eat this cookie now.
Chips Ahoy are trash.
Yeah, you know what? No, I was going to try and be like the moral high ground. You're right. Give me a PC decadent cookie 100 times out of 100.
Look at us agreeing on things.
We're maturing.
Who would have thought?
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast. $1,000 minutes.
All right, we've got Troy on the phone. Troy, how you doing this morning, brother?
Good. How are you, boys?
Doing good. I ask everyone this question. Troy, would you consider yourself a smart man?
I wouldn't say I'm book smart, but I'm street smart.
Okay. All right. Hey, that pays off in certain scenarios, including just random conversations, which is where a lot of people pick up a lot of the useless trivia that could win you $1,000 here today.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, you want to get into it, buddy?
Yeah, we'll get after it.
All right, I'll count you from 3 to 1, and then the timer begins. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. What is 69 times 1?
69.
What is the capital of Nova Scotia?
Pass.
Who beat the Montreal Canadiens last night?
Oh, crap.
What day is
Pass
April...
on. Pass on that one, I guess.
What day is April Fool's?
April 1st.
Who is the lead singer of Metallica?
James something.
Oh, brother. What color are Smurfs?
Blue.
What was the first Prime Minister of Canada?
Sir John A.
What is H2O the symbol for?
Oxygen. Or water, sorry.
Okay. In the movie Finding Nemo, what type of fish is Nemo?
Clownfish.
And what animal is known as man's best friend?
Dog.
All right, we got some time. Okay. Now, we're not best friends or anything, but I'm going to level with you, man. You're not getting $1,000 this morning.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty rough. I'm not even going to lie on that one.
I mean, unfortunately, you passed on a couple and we didn't have enough time to go back to them. You were asked the capital of Nova Scotia. You passed. That's Halifax.
I was going to say Halifax, but...
You should have gone with your gut, man. The other one that you passed on was who beat Montreal last night. That was the Washington Capitals.
Yeah, I'm not a big hockey guy either. So.
That's fair. You were asked, who is the singer for Metallica? You answered James something. Unfortunately, we have to say that's wrong because it's James Hetfield. And you know what? You were about to get another one wrong when you said oxygen was H2O, but you did change it to water. So kudos on that. You went 7 out of 10. Overall, a good score.
And no shame bell this morning, so that's something that you can be proud of, Troy.
That's always a bonus.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I have a nature problem dealing with. I have the carport at home because I don't have a garage. And I've got a motion sensor light just off the door under the carport that the birds are trying to take away from me. They've started trying to build a nest in the light.
Oh, okay.
And they are pretty adamant about it. So we saw it yesterday, and like we were taking out like some garbage and stuff to sit beside the house, and there was nothing. And within, I would say, an hour, they started building. We've cleared it out 5 times. I've had to do it again this morning.
You touched the nest?
Well, we broke the nest.
Oh, buddy.
What?
Do you not know?
What?
Do you not know?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's illegal.
What are you talking about?
It is illegal to touch a bird's nest.
Okay, well then there's no proof that it was a bird's nest.
Legit. You may have just admitted to a crime here on
Seriously?
The show. Yeah, hey, someone tell me if I'm wrong here. We can Google it real quick. Here, let me see. I'm pretty sure, yes, you are not allowed to touch a bird's nest. You have to call it in.
Really? What if it's not even finished, though? Because we caught it in progress. That's the problem.
It was in development.
Yeah.
And you shut it down.
That's right. They didn't have the proper permits, so we shut the build down.
Apparently, it says here that you are not allowed to touch a bird's nest, even if it is on your property. you were actually supposed to call like the forestry or something like that to come take it down.
Interesting. I had no idea. I guess if they try again, we'll call somebody.
Although it does specify on specific birds. It says if it's a crow's nest, you can just take it down yourself.
The disrespect to crows, man.
I don't know why specifically crows are in there, but
they're just like, no, crows can go to hell. Everybody else, you got to take precautions.
Can you get... I mean, I don't want to look it up now because can you get fined for that? Could you go to jail?
I'm sure you can't go to jail.
Can you imagine going to jail because you moved a bird's nest?
Ultimate, what are you in for? Well, you see, birds were trying to make a nest in my carport, and I didn't want to get attacked.
So the government's trying to spy on me. Here's the thing.
You're not allowed to get rid of the drones without their authority.
Yeah.
All right, well, listen, if anybody from conservation or anybody like that is listening, go on about your business, and to everybody else, remember the rule of the show is no snitching.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
So a certain someone, we're not going to say any names, got rid of a bird's nest.
Could be anyone, to be honest.
We have no idea who the person is, but we learned that is illegal here this morning.
Allegedly, it happened. Allegedly, it's illegal.
And we have got so many people admitting to crime here this morning on the text line at 762-555 that are saying that they move birds' nests all the time.
Right, yeah. Some people saying that they do it on a daily basis.
A lot of people saying, trying to give, tips on how to get rid of birds' nests in the most disastrous and actually horrible ways.
One person did suggest explosives, and I need to restate that the alleged person being allegedly discussed here said that this nest was directly beside the door to their home.
I do think there are other things that you could do. I mean, like a landlord, when they want to get someone else, you use like intimidation kind of methods. Maybe you just start eating chicken wings in front of them.
Right.
You get a bucket of chicken from KFC, some duck, whatever it is.
Dude, just leave the bones up where the nest is being built.
Yeah.
See if they get the message. Is that the bird equivalent of finding a horse head in your bed?
Crack some eggs outside. Stuff like that,
just scatter some shells around. Just let them know. Again, I don't want to waste an egg. Or sorry, they shouldn't waste an egg in this economy, but you got to let them know.
If you could somehow get up there and take a number 2, I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Or listen, 'tis the season where there's lawn clippings and stuff falling out of the trees or whatever. And if you happen to be a leaf blower kind of person and you're blowing your driveway and you happen to just sort of aim up a little bit and it happens to catch what's the beginning of a nest, who's to say it was intentional?
I was going to say you could just go out there in the morning and just start screaming before they do, but...
Wow, that's not going to go well for my neighborhood.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Time to send a text. 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 762-555. Ask us your questions right now. Text us. Send us a text. Ask us all your questions. 762-555. Send a text.
Yeah, the Leafs are going to lose.
Whoa, hey. Slow your roll, pal.
I'm just saying. Listen, great job.
Someone must be smoking the jazz cabbage right now because they said, is Mike Wazowski winking or blinking?
He's only got one eye. That's a wink, my man.
I mean, by the definition of it, he is winking. But, I mean, do you need 2 eyes to wink?
I mean, maybe there's a whole different set of circumstances when it comes to one-eyed creatures. I don't think I've ever heard anybody specify whether the Cyclops was winking or blinking.
True.
Mythological times. But as far as my understanding goes, it's 1 eye versus 2, not 1 eye versus all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I guess he can't do an eye for an eye either, right?
Because, I mean, the other alternative is that he's got some weird way of only closing half of his one eye, and that's a wink, and that would be terrifying.
Someone said, which Kachuk brother is the hotter one, Brady or Matthew? And I feel like it's not a question. It's obviously Matthew Kachuk.
I hate to say this, I don't know what either one of them look like.
Oh, God. I'll show you. Brady Kachuk looks like the kind of kid who asks you if you have any games on your phone.
Is Brady Kachuk the one he was kind of like bald looking at the Four Nations Cup and he scored that goal and turned into sloths from the Goonies?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. then I don't know what the other one looks like, but it's not him.
Brady Tkachuk looks like the kind of kid who's always like sniffling his nose with, he's always got snot on his face as a kid.
There's always something wrong with him.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
What's another one here? Someone said, what's a cheat code you discovered in real life that actually works?
A cheat code in real life? I'm trying to think of like all the life hacks and stuff I've ever seen.
Here's one for you. When you're in a public bathroom and it's got the 2 rolls of toilet paper there, if it's like 1 ply or whatever, pull both of them at the same time.
Oh!
That's what I do here all the time.
Yeah,
and you at least give yourself a 2 ply or maybe even a 3 ply sometimes.
I think the other life hack that's similar to that is if you work in a building with 1 ply, quit. If your boss thinks that little of you, you don't need that in your life.
Someone said, if there was a doll of you, what phrases would it say when the string was pulled? I feel like just muttering the F word.
Yeah, mine would cuss a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you would say, I'm Dolby, and it would probably say fair enough.
Yours would be like, oh, my back. Just the sound of your knees cracking.
That's the thing. Mine is opposable G.I. Joe, but every time you move the knees, it goes.
Yours is permanently glued to a couch, and it can't get...
Has a game controller stuck in one hand.
All right, we'll wrap up with this one. Someone said, what's something that looks creepy when you're ugly, but really cool when you're hot? Mustaches, for sure.
Mustaches is a bad one. Just looking at people. If you're hot and you stare at somebody, people call it a smolder. Like he's giving me the eyes.
Dude, even more than that. I mean, kind of coming full circle in the conversation, a wink.
Yeah, you can't wink at people.
A wink can be super sexy or super creepy depending on what you look like.
That's just it. A hot person winks at you from across the room, you're flattered, right? You're like, oh my gosh, really? That's for me?
Wink at a coworker today. You're either going to have an HR meeting or you might get lucky.
Wink at a coworker today. This is another one of your famously bad pieces of advice.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Ed's word of the day.
Let's see what he's got.
Good morning. Today's word is compunction. Yep, compunction. C-O-M-P-U-N-C-T-I-O-N. Compunction. And it's anxiety or unease due to guilt. Well, that's just try not to do anything that's going to make you feel guilty. Anyways, that just about does it. Have a great one. Cheers.
Nailed it. Yeah. Hey, listen, you don't want to feel guilty? Don't do guilty stuff.
I think compunction is best described when you're speeding on the highway and you see the cop pull out and you're like, oh, please don't put the cherries on. Please don't put the cherries on.
Your foot is overwhelmed with the compunction to slow down and hope that it's in time.
Yeah. As you're seeing him coming, you're like, oh, no.
You know what's crazy, though, is like compunction is a fairly common thing. It's basically that voice in the back of your head that tells you not to do stuff. The angel on your shoulder, as we see in media and stuff like that. But there are some people who are born with no compunction. They don't have that in their head. Like people who go to the gas station at 5 p.m. with 35 lottery tickets that all need to be checked by the cashier.
That is a lack of compunction, yes.
If you had any compunction, you wouldn't do this.
Compunction. Hopefully you have some.
Want to be a part of the podcast?
Leave a message on the Bad Line.
The Bad Line is the answering machine for the Brock and Dalby Show.
To get the number, text the word BAD to 762-555.
Thanks for listening to the Brock and Dalby Podcast.